Hi there, welcome to I Lone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Virgo energy. And we're going to get out the cards and then we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives to kind of see how different people in their Virgo energy would be handling this energy right now. Because we're all kind of at different emotional maturity levels, and Virgo talks about learning lessons and being enlightened to the truth. And, there's some things people haven't been enlightened to the truth about. Shadowy energy can be wanting to stay in denial of the truth, or just not even seeing how certain things manipulate you, and not having insight as to why you do what you do and why you don't do what you don't do, and kind of how some of these things that are kind of buried in our subconscious could be manipulating us. And they're on a journey of trying to learn some lessons, but everybody has their shadow nature of pride, ego, lust, greed, laziness, codependency, immaturity, and everybody's kind of at different stages of having shed some of the more shadowy aspects and maybe being a little more mature than some other people. And just like you could know some people in your life that you feel are kind of shadowy, those people in turn have people in their life they think are a little more shadowy. Those people in their life have people in their life. We can all have people in our life that it's like, wow, they're really full of themselves. Wow, they're really immature. Wow, they are really in denial about some things, right? And so that's how we're going to read it. Okay. And I also got a reading card from the Buddhism reading card, so we'll see what that has to say. Probably read it at the beginning and the end, and then at the very end, I'm going to ask what people don't see coming based on, kind of how they're living their life. We have the compassion card. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures in the whole of its beauty. That quote is by Albert Einstein. And it says, compassion, as it rises up to meet the suffering and pain of all living things, releases that within yourself and others. It makes creating mutual happiness possible. So, yeah, I do think love is what helps people free themselves from, when they offer love to themselves in the situation. Virgo energy can talk about going within to do this inner work, to see the truth of these different things that manipulate us, things within us, things outside of us, other past events, and seeing the truth of it in love, where everybody's needed to heal and grow and mature at different times, seeing where some people didn't. The only person we can change is ourselves. The only actions that we should be taking responsibility for is ourselves. Assign responsibility to the other people to have to be responsible for their actions. And in an energy of love, of accepting that everybody is where they're at, I can choose to keep my distance from certain people. I can choose to not engage with certain people that have certain traits, qualities, or characteristics of ways of behaving that I don't think is very just or fair or loving. And I can still be in an energy of love towards them, because you don't want to be an ugly energy. It's not good soil to grow your life in. And so high vibe people, and kind of like vengeance is mine, says God, it's like believing that it's all kind of built into the system, kind of like if people are more shadowy, odds are they're going to be around other people who are more shadowy. More high vibe people are going to kind of see the truth that they haven't learned some lessons in life and act and behave and treat people in certain ways, and those people are going to kind of keep their distance from them. And so it's kind of built into the system that they'll probably be surrounded more by people like themselves. So let's go see what's going on in Virgo energy. We have the expectation, the key, and the heart, and the reason is because of the letter. Everybody could be everybody can be hopeful. The letter card is Gemini, which is about our dualistic nature. And it's also about love and what we want to manifest in our truth. The keys card says Leo, kind of being illuminated to the truth, because Leo also represented by the sun. And then we have the heart card. High vibe people keep having that hope and faith and belief, and they keep aligning with their high vibe Gemini nature, their dualistic nature. I could be more in shadowy energy, but I have the free will to believe that if I align with my more hopeful, believing, loving nature, that is how I will manifest what I want to manifest in my life. And as we're doing that, we can always hope that some other people in our life that maybe at some point in time things didn't work out, that maybe over time that those people would work through whatever they needed to work through and we'd kind of get back more on the same page, but accepting the truth that that might not happen also. So high vibe energy is about maintaining balance within yourself. We can hope that other people heal or grow and mature themselves if we feel that they weren't. But, we keep letting love and intuition guide us, and we keep moving forward in our truth, because everybody is investing in their truth at this present time. And we need to accept the truth of that, kind of get out of our ego, of our Leo energy, that everyone has their truth and they are, in their dualistic nature, investing in their truth. Sometimes shadowy people are investing in things, trying to manipulate loving people in their life to get them to come back and do it the way they want them to do it. And the high vibe people have to stand in their truth. Can I want that relationship to work or that friendship? Yes. But if that wasn't working in a more authentic, balanced, just, fair, loving way, then I accept the truth that that's not how you want to work together with people. And as long as you don't want to work together with people in that way, I'm going to keep moving forward. The divine has a plan for my life. I'm going to keep taking action in my truth and believing I will, either you will or you won't for people in your past, but I'm going to work with the people who do work together with me in that way, in truth and love. And then we have the Clover card, which is Sagittarius energy. The House card, of course, reminds me of Aries energy of the Four of Wands. And the Ship card says Aries energy. And the reason this came out is because of the gift. As we keep moving forward, investing in our truth, seeing the truth of who isn't working together, doesn't seem to be on the same page, we're inspired. Sagittarius is fire sign energy, just like Aries and Leo, that, we're going to keep investing in what inspires us in our truth, just like other people we see are investing in going about things or living their life in ways that are aligned with their truth. And as we quit investing more time, energy, and effort into people who have shown us, kind of in this Leo energy of the sun, have shown us that they don't want to move forward in this way. This is not what motivates and inspires them. That is not their truth. They also, everybody kind of wants to be in relationships with people who are more on the same page as them. And sometimes we got in relationships with people and we were more mismatched. Could we have been attracted to them? Could we have liked them? Could we thought our ship of dreams were going to come into reality with them? Yeah, but then as time went by, we come in contact with all these different people to help us get more clear what our truth is and isn't. Virgo energy goes within to see that truth, and that is kind of the pentacle, can be the truth about what drives and motivates us, what we love, what we're motivated and inspired by. And again, Sagittarius in shadow can be how we could have been more inspired still by the past, wanting to repeat a pattern of the past. We'll all keep repeating certain patterns until we've kind of learned the lesson in Sagittarius, being about higher learning and education, that we kind of learned the lesson we needed to learn from that phase of life. And then we are inspired to probably move forward in life differently. And sometimes we can get in friendships or relationships or jobs, and we kind of think we're more on the same page. We could hope we're on the same page. Hope we're ready to put some old ways of being behind us and kind of grow up and mature ourselves in some way, work through our fears or insecurities or past pain and heartbreak or something. But that does take work and effort. Sometimes some people will just hope getting a new job, a new friendship, a new relationship, like, oh, that'll be the answer. That'll help me move on. That will help me in these different ways, without them really having to do that work and effort within themselves. And so shadowy energy can be being more codependent on people instead of wanting to do this inner work. But they think looking outside themselves to something to be the answer, getting in a new relationship, getting a different job, getting in a different friendship, things they might invest in to make them feel better. They think those things will be the answer to their problems. But the only thing that will solve some of their problems, and then that's kind of interesting because Aries energy is about the self, until they get inspired within themselves to do this inner work, to work through those things, it doesn't matter if they go get in a new relationship, a new job, indulge in certain things of the world. All these things that they think are the answer are not the answer until they do this work within themselves. And that's what some people kind of keep staying in denial of, like some people could be heartbroken about something, but it's like, no, like, I don't want to deal with that heartbreak. I'm going to just go indulge in these things or go get in this new relationship. That's the answer. That'll make it all better. But it never resolves the initial heartbreak that they had, that they aren't dealing with. Some of them really are more about themselves and their ego. They're more inspired by themselves and their ego. That's their truth. And then relationships don't work out. They're sad. That didn't work out. And then they just go get in another relationship. But they don't want to see the truth that the reason that other relationship didn't work out is because they're more about themselves and their ego. They indulge themselves in some shadowy ways of being, but they don't want to see the truth of it. Relationships don't work out. They get fired from jobs. They just go get a new job, go get in a new relationship or new friendship. But they're the exact same person that they were before. They didn't heal or grow and mature themselves. They didn't learn the lesson from that other life experience. And that's kind of what we're supposed to do. We go through these experiences or stages of life, like ages of life. And we go through that stage of life. We're supposed to kind of get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. Can we always be, if a person were more egotistical, bossy, immature, lazy, controlling, they don't have to see the truth. But if they keep not seeing the truth, it is just being the exact same person in all the other relationships they get in, until they're willing to kind of take responsibility for their share of why some relationships didn't work out. Now, another way to look at that is some people can be very loving and giving and nurturing and believe in love. That's like harnessing these energies in a high vibe way. And they could get in relationships with people where they kind of don't want to see the truth that maybe those people are a little bit more inspired to be about themselves and the world. And the other people are more inspired and motivated by love. So in our Gemini nature of free will, we're either inspired to make decisions in our life and get in relationships more inspired by love, or it's more for these worldly reasons of how it benefits us, right? And some people who are loving keep not ever wanting to see the truth that not everybody's motivated and inspired by love, but we live in a world of duality. There's going to be people in the world who are not motivated and inspired by love. how can you have free will choice to pick from people who are motivated and inspired by love if you don't have people who aren't? And in their free will, some people could have decided, maybe because of experiences they went through, or just because they stayed more self-centered and egotistical, that no, they think it's just and fair to be more about themselves, and other people should want to make their life more about them too, and people should want to be in friendship and relationship with them for these various reasons, and it is just more about them, and people, they indulge their being more about themselves, and they think maybe other people who had things that didn't work out, should also want to be in a relationship with them and indulge them. And some of those people, some of the people who are more about themselves in a way or want to be indulged, they could be, they could be, in relationship to other people, they could think they're a really good catch. I'm not more bossy or controlling or immature than some other people. I might be more stable or grounded or attractive or charming or successful or social clout or whatever, smart, intelligent. And then because of that, because they might have learned some more lessons than some other people or have some advantages in life than some other people, therefore then they could kind of be a little full of themselves and think they're a catch and don't kind of realize that just because they did maybe temper their ego or grow and mature themselves in some ways versus some other people, it still doesn't give them the right to think that, you know, but it's kind of this idea, right? Like, well, I did the things that people said. I didn't indulge in more being this way or that way, and I did do the things that people told me to do to be like a person that maybe looks just and fair and balanced and acts with some character and integrity. But then therefore they think people should indulge them and it should be more about them, and they could, in a way, should be able to be more indulged in a relationship, whether they're male or female. Like, I did the right things that people said to do, so therefore I am like better than those people who kind of do some of those things that people in my life told me if I wanted people to move forward with me in a relationship, I shouldn't do those things, right? Well, again, some people could put in a lot of work and effort to maybe be very successful in their career. They could have been told that that's what they should do to have people be in a relationship with them. Just because other people didn't put as much work and effort to, maybe they're in a different career field, the other people might be in a career field that they could enjoy. Other people could be in a career field they don't enjoy, but it has more status and image. Other people could be more pleasant to be around. It's just a lot of different things. I hope you kind of get that, you know. But some people are just more full of themselves, think that they have better traits, characteristics, or something than some other people in the world. So people should want to be in a relationship with them. They might have some more of certain traits or characteristics, but, you know, people are motivated and inspired by love. High vibe energy is I want a balance. I want people to have maybe some of these traits and characteristics, levels of emotional maturity, stability, temperance of their ego, things like that. But I also want people who are authentic and loving and just and fair. And people could be heartbroken and sad that some of the people that they felt were more of that right mix for them, that relationship didn't work out. And then they could have gotten themselves in a relationship with someone who's like, oh, this person seems to more be on the same page as me to a degree where they're at least willing to invest in bringing a dream into reality. Maybe some people, say somebody wanted to be in a relationship to get married, and they were in a relationship with someone who was more on the same page as them, but that wasn't their idea of the dream life. They didn't want to get married. Well, you know, we have these dreams that we want to manifest that we think will make us happy. Because, maybe not to be married, just to be married, but maybe because you want to create a family. So then you could get in a relationship with someone who, of course, you probably like and are attracted to, and there's a lot of traits and characteristics you like about them. But maybe with some of those people, it isn't as good of a mix, but it does have a lot of good things about it. And you hope that your dreams will come into reality. Same way you could do that with people, other people could have done that with you. Some people are doing that right now. And, we do have to make these decisions in life in our free will of Gemini. And to invest in kind of what we think will make us happy. And we have these dreams within ourselves that kind of drive and motivate us, that we want to invest in those things. And, again, sometimes we're not on the same page at the same time as certain people, and we may never be on the same page at the same time with certain people. We can only hope that the people that we do feel like we come to this compromise, again, in a world of duality, I might like this and this and this, and I kind of want to manifest this, and other people kind of like this and this, and they want to manifest this. And are we each willing to be inspired to work together and invest in this common dream, and everybody equally willing to kind of compromise that it can't be more about you, it can't be more about me if we're working for a common dream. Everyone equally has to be enlightened to the truth that everyone equally kind of needs to compromise, because otherwise, and sometimes with some people in our life, we get new beginnings, get out of jobs, friendships, relationships, and sometimes when we see the truth that something else we're not on the same page with, there isn't either have the same dream, or we could feel that one person kind of wants to keep moving forward in it. Shadowy Sagittarius can be more about kind of indulging in it, or a little more immature. A more high vibe Aries is where you're willing to grow and mature yourself and take on more responsibility. And sometimes we're kind of mismatched in that way, And again, hopefully every relationship we did get out of, or job, hopefully we learned some lessons, got more clear about what our truth was and our truth wasn't. Then we can get in other jobs, friendships, and relationships. Everything along the journey is about trying to basically mature us with the next group of cards coming. And the reason they came out is because of the mature man. And us in our worldly nature is kind of considered masculine energy when we go take our worldly vessel out in the world. And that's considered masculine energy. And we can all present ourselves as a more stable, grounded, mature person. But are we really... did we learn those lessons along the way? Did we heal and grow and mature ourselves? Or are we just trying to present ourselves, trying to move forward in the next thing, but we're still repeating old patterns, And that's kind of more what shadowy people would do. Didn't learn the lessons, didn't heal and grow and mature themselves. Still, it's like, have these ways of being that they're kind of not willing to. High vibe energy and high vibe Virgo is becoming independent of some old ways of being here with the death card, which is Scorpio energy. Seeing the truth emotionally that I need to grow up and mature myself. I need to temper my ego. I need to learn to love and believe in myself. I need to change. Always looking for other things outside of me to be the answer. I'm the one who needs to learn to invest in me, to be inspired to love me, believe in me, get more balance within myself instead of looking to other people to love me, for other people to make me feel more balanced, for other people to appreciate me, to validate my worth and value. I need to do that first within myself, because otherwise, shadowy Sagittarius could be where I'm chasing people, wanting to be in friendship and relationship, wondering why those people don't love me, chasing after people, wondering why they don't appreciate me and my worth and value. And part of it might be because I haven't learned to do that within myself. And because that is the energy I'm in, I could kind of be more really wanting people, because that's kind of a more codependent energy, for them to like me, love me, validate my worth and value. And when we do that work within ourselves, then it's not looking for people outside of you to validate your worth and value or love you. You know, I have learned to grow up, kind of love my own inner child nature and get balance within myself. I have my own loving, creative, inspired nature, which is this. I also have my worldly nature that wants to be in relationship with other people, but I first need to learn to love me, kind of like with the inner child. And I need to take action. The masculine cards can talk about taking action, whether we're male or female, and kind of standing up for our more emotionally intuitive, loving nature. I need to learn to invest in me and love me. And then when I invest in me, love me, offer myself love and compassion and forgiveness for the growing and the healing and the maturing that I've had to do and the mistakes I've made in my life, and work through issues from my past where other people I could have dealt with were where they were at in life, and some of them were very just and fair and loving, and I could have been not appreciative of it. Other people could have been, or I did, other people could have been more self-protective or caught up in themselves or caught up in the world or had their own issues, and maybe some of those people, you know, were just doing the best that they could. Appreciate that and realize some people were definitely more shadowy, and accept the truth of that. Just deal with the truth of all of it, that everybody is in this kind of state of becoming. And some people are growing and healing, maturing themselves. Some people didn't. Some people won't. Some people did, you know, and sometimes we were the people who were more just and fair and loving, and other people weren't ready to be in a relationship like that. Sometimes we rejected people who were more just and fair and loving because we weren't ready for that. And part of it can be, again, have you learned to love yourself and believe you deserve love? You can be a loving person to other people, but you get in more shadowy relationships. And part of that could be people's comfort zone. I'm not used to being in relationships with people who are more balanced within themselves, more just, more fair, more loving. That could kind of be your truth as a loving person yourself. But if you haven't really learned to love yourself, you'll reject loving people in your life, and you'll keep trying to motivate and inspire like other people who aren't on the same page as them, like trying to get them to change, because not seeing. And part of being drawn and attracted to those people was kind of for you to maybe love and appreciate yourself. Why do I keep repeating a pattern? Why do I keep getting in relationships with people who might want to be in relationships with other people, or are more immature, or are more codependent, or less independent? So a loving person can have a lot of these traits and characteristics about them. They are kind of motivated to free themselves from things that manipulate them. They could be more independent, could be more stable, grounded, mature than some other people, but yet they don't get in relationships with people, and that could be like a self-worth thing. Don't think I'm good enough. This is my comfort zone. I'm used to being in relationships with people who don't treat me in a just and fair way. I try to change them, you know? And then it gets to where people decide, why am I doing that? Why do I, it's like investing in something in a way that's dead. that didn't transform. The death card, the coffin card in Scorpio energy is about death and transformation. Why am I not willing to see the truth when I meet people or get to know them? If kind of from the get-go I can see, oh wow, you're really kind of immature and reckless. Oh, no, I want to be in a relationship with you, even though I might not be more immature and reckless. Why do I get in a relationship with someone if I know they seem more self-protective and defensive and not really giving of themselves, but a loving person is kind of like your cup of love can overflow. Not necessarily that you're ooey gooey within everyone, but people that you get in a relationship, you freely give of yourself because you kind of know how to fill up your own cup emotionally. And then, you know, and part of it could be because of your loving nature. You're really inspired to inspire other people to love themselves. And maybe a lot of people, well, there could have been more mature people in your environment, but maybe some of the mature people in your environment at different times in your life, um, you had some healing and growing and maturing to do yourself. So you could have aligned with people that were kind of more on that same stage and way of being as you. Again, you could have hoped that some people over time would kind of put aside some of their more immature ways, and maybe some of them didn't. And then, you go through that enough times, and it kind of makes you think, I'm not going to, when I see someone now has some certain ways of being, if they haven't seemed to free themselves basically from some of the things that manipulate them, to kind of be more on the same page as me, like if I'm not more shut down emotionally and I am willing to get to know people and invest in people, I'm not going to get in a relationship with someone who's more shut down and more defensive to being willing to more authentically invest in people. If if I meet people who seem to be more about wanting to be indulged, I'm not going to get more involved in a relationship. If they seem to not have work through, be more independent to whatever degree I could be more independent from things that used to manipulate me, I'm not going to get in a more involved relationship, but sometimes you have to go on that journey with those people because some people can wear a very good false mask and they seem more independent. They seem more on the same page as you. And then, you know, we can only do the best we can do. Hopefully, we did listen to our intuition. Sometimes in those situations, we didn't. And then from that whole experience, we also learned to listen to our intuition. But sometimes we had to go on those journeys. And all those experiences to help us get out of our more immature, worldly, codependent energy to learn to love ourselves and believe in ourselves and to accept the truth that not everybody is motivated by love. Not everybody has other people's wants the best for them. Some people are more shadowy, backstabbing, in order to feel a sense of power and control. And some people try to take and steal from other people emotionally, maybe more for how it benefits them, say in their status and their image in some way. And then once they feel like they've improved their status or their image, or they feel better within themselves, and it was just more about them being in a relationship to heal than letting go of the other people. You're of no use to them anymore because they were really just in it for themselves, and you kind of had to learn all those lessons. So some people are on that journey still of learning those lessons, kind of depending on what age that they are. And other people, and some people have had a lot more life experience and things that made them grow up much quicker and learn these lessons at a quicker age than some other people. But some people are still on that journey. Some people have been on that journey. We can always kind of accept the truth that we're not on the same page as people, we move forward. And then we could be having these new opportunities in the world, jobs, friendships, or relationships. And then those people are trying to get to know us to see how we harness these three energy cards. And we're trying to see how they harness them. The shadowy people are hiding because at every stage of life, we can move to a different town, we can get a different job, we can get in with a different social group, move to a different neighborhood. In the world of duality where we have free will choice, there's always going to be more shadowy people, because shadowy people exist in the world, more immature, more out for themselves, more manipulative, more prideful, more stubborn, more bossy, more controlling, more lazy, more about themselves. And as people have learned these lessons, they have learned to not chase people, to know their worth and value, to love and believe in themselves, high vibe energy, maintain balance within themselves as they get to know new people. And you could be in whatever friendship or relationships or marriages that you are in as you are still moving forward in your life. Or you could be single and with you and your friends and your family. But at every stage of life, we are meeting new people. They might want, us to move forward with them. And we just have to get to know people to see who harnesses in a more high vibe energy, who harnesses them in a more shadowy energy. The snake, the stork, and the main male. So the snake card says Scorpio, which is, it's water sign energy, and are people more superficial and shallow? More about maybe wanting to give birth to something new is what the stork card can talk about, but more for their benefit, ego, image. Are they people who are just looking for someone new to manipulate? Like some of the other people I used to manipulate, whether I'm male, female, you're male, female, whether we're coworkers, neighbors, or whatever. Shadowy people can always be looking for someone else to kind of feed off of. Either to feel powerful, to manipulate and control those people, to get a sense of feeling powerful within themselves, or to get in a relationship with for deceptive reasons, trying to maybe control or manipulate someone else, and they just use other people as pawns in their life. Or they're just at whatever stage of life they're at, and they could live life the way they live it. And they're just looking to see if you kind of live life, if you're kind of on the same page as them. But with some of those people, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not on that page anymore. Might have used to live my life that way, view life that way. Not anymore. And so kind of seeing who are the more people from your vantage point that it's kind of like, I don't think I'm on the same page as you. And I might think some of the people might have some shadowy traits and characteristics to them. And other people in high vibe Scorpio, the stork, and I kind of view the main male, again, can be how people present themselves in the world, as kind of an Aries and a Taurus energy. So Taurus is about our philosophy of life that drives the decisions that we make in our life, what we're motivated and inspired by. And Aries, again, can be kind of what we're motivated and inspired by. So it's trying to find the people that you think are, if you're someone who has kind of learned from other relationships that, you do want to be in more deep, meaningful relationships. And you could have been in some relationships with people who maybe you felt were kind of more immature, and could have been more about them, more about being in it for these reasons of the world. It's good for the ego, the image, the status, to be in a relationship. But they weren't people that you could have a more deep, meaningful relationship with, because they're not, maybe haven't really invested in getting to know themselves and tempering their immature nature, their egoic nature, their self-protective defensive nature, haven't learned to love and believe in themselves. So they're kind of superficial. So therefore it's hard to have a more deep, meaningful relationship, because they could, from their more egoic nature, being male or female, they could indulge their more immature nature. And that is kind of the truth. And so then it's hard to have a more deep, meaningful relationship with them, because they're not very deep. And they could be more motivated to just indulge themselves, think other people should indulge them, or getting in relationships more for the status, the ego, the image, the indulgence, the sex, and not really to be in a deep, meaningful relationship. And you've learned you do want to be in a deep, meaningful relationship. And those people also know they don't want to be in more immature, superficial, shallow relationships, or be in relationships with people who are trying to control them or manipulate them, whether, again, it's male or female and it's a coworker or a neighbor. You're kind of looking for people who aren't more shadowy and have done this work within yourself to maintain balance within yourself, stand up for yourself, to believe you deserve to be in more just, fair, balanced relationships. And then we have the Child card and the Rider, which the Rider card says Aquarius on it, which is, you have a dream that you want to manifest into reality. And if you do have that more hopeful, believing, loving nature within yourself, you've learned that you have to stand up for yourself, because there are more immature, shadowy people that want to indulge in friendships or relationship with you. But because you could be such a loving person, that people can kind of get spoiled in a relationship with you, and you can kind of indulge them in poor behavior in a relationship because you love them. And you're trying to get them to love and believe in themselves and work through their fears and insecurities, and just playing and being this loving and encouraging person in their life. And then some of those people, though, they have no intention of doing that. That's not their truth. But they can like you to keep being that type of person in their life. But then again, they kind of don't want you to go invest in your dreams. They want you to keep playing that role in their life, whether they're your friend or family member or a romantic interest, but they don't ever plan to really treat you in that way. But they want you to kind of keep indulging them in their more immature way or stubborn way or prideful way or whatever. And that's when the Snake card, it says Scorpio on it, but the snake kind of reminds me of the Seven of Swords. And I suppose the Devil card, and the Devil card could be that, there's, the devil is Capricorn energy. So it can represent people in our world that we love. And we love them because of some worldly connection that we have with them. They are in our family, they're in our extended family, we grew up with them, they're in our neighborhood, we've known them all our life, or, they could be just people in our neighborhood or workplace. We have this worldly connection with them. Some of those people we do have love for. Some of the people we just kind of have to get along with because of this worldly connection that we have with them, is kind of what the Devil card can be. And, if we have to work with them, we do have to work with them. And in Aquarius, we're trying to bring this dream into reality, and we have this worldly connection with them. And so with some of the people in our life, the people that we already know are, and we've seen the truth that they're kind of shadowy, and they do want you to indulge them, and they don't want you to really love and believe in yourself and maybe stand up for yourself. You're doing that for the people in your life that, I don't have some type of worldly connection with you, that, I can't kind of keep my distance from you. And even with people like at a workplace. You can know some people who are more difficult to deal with, a little snarky or whatever. You just don't care for them because of the way they choose to conduct themselves, invest in themselves, and how they treat other people. Well, yeah, you can still have as little to do with them as possible, and work more with the people who aren't like that, and the people who you definitely don't have to invest in anymore, though you might have some connection with them in the world. Um, that connection might exist, like say people, um well, the one that's popping in my mind is like where you had been married to someone and you had children. Can you still, like with most people in the world, can you get along with people because you don't want to contribute to more conflict, fighting, or negative energy? So again, you can try to treat people the way you like to treat people, so things can go as smoothly as possible. But if you don't have to be around someone that you don't have to be around, you don't. And, um, sometimes some of those people could kind of be confused, thinking maybe in the half truce card is making me think that maybe that you really still want to be in a relationship with them. It's like, no, I'm just trying to keep the peace. And I really, uh, sometimes when people were more shadowy and people still treat them like they would treat other people just because, that's kind of the environment you want to culture in the world and it's aligned with your truth, to not be more shadowy, because if you're not someone who's naturally like, you don't want to get down in the dirt and in the pit with some people because that is their natural element, and if that's not your element, you can't compete in that element because, and you probably have no interest to, but that isn't your strong suit. I don't know how to do this kind of icky back and forth with you because that's just not the truth of who I am. So I'm not going to get in the dirt with you in that way. And I'm going to go about things the way I go about things, which could be about trying to maintain as much peace in it. And if they act more shadowy or whatever, it's like, okay, I'm going to keep my distance from you. I see that you're doing this or doing that. I don't want to engage in it. And, you act the way you act. And eventually, it's like trying to get those people to work with you in a more balanced way. And then they could be confused thinking, yeah, do you still want to be in a relationship with them? And some of those people are like, no, I definitely don't want to be any more involved in a relationship with you. I did see the truth about you. I'm just trying to have this all move forward as peaceful as it can. And something about this half truce card's making me think that, like, we don't have to tell everybody what we think or feel about them, right? you know, and we don't have to tell everybody what's going on in our life if they don't have any business really knowing what our life is, for one. Now, the more shadowy people, they are hiding, they're more deceptive, manipulative, kind of more immature, more about themselves, do try to manipulate and control people, could want to be in more codependent relationships because they're codependent and they want other people to be more codependent on them, and they're codependent on their ego nature and their defensive nature and their self-protective nature. And if those people can find someone who doesn't know this truth about them, like some other people who already left that job, got out of those friendships or those relationships, those people are trying to present themselves as a more just and fair and stable and balanced person, like they're more motivated by love and truth and justice and fairness than they really are. because it could be more about, in a shadowy Aquarius energy, the most important thing for some people is how they feel they come across in the world. And for some people, just being in a relationship can make them feel like that says something about their worth and value. So they can get in relationships with people for all these different reasons that don't have anything to do with love. High vibe people don't want to be in a relationship with people because they think it says something about their worth and value. They harness high vibe Virgo energy. They know their worth and value, and they're not going to emotionally, their more authentic, loving nature, get involved in something for their own shadowy reasons. No, that hurts me emotionally because I do authentically invest in people. So I'm not going to get myself involved in something for the wrong reasons, or I'm just hurting myself. And so I'm not going to take action more out of my fear, insecurity, pride, or ego. And then I don't want to invest in other people who might want to get in a relationship with me more out of their fear, insecurity, pride, or ego, or wanting to try to manipulate someone else or just to feel better. You know, I am looking for the people who seem to love and believe in themselves enough and be inspired within themselves to not conduct themselves in that way. Willing to, the child card could be like a page energy, which is I'm willing to get to know people. As I move forward in my life, I kind of see who's kind of more shadowy, who's not, move forward with the people who aren't, willing to go meet new people, to have more people in my life who are more high vibe. And I'm looking for those people. And then now the half truce card is kind of reminding me of the Two of Swords, where we kind of have to maintain this balance within ourselves all the time. And we have to take accountability for that within ourselves. So getting in a relationship with someone who's already tipped out of balance, they're trying to get in relationships to feel more balanced. And then they're very codependent on that relationship for them just to feel more balanced within themselves. But they within themselves aren't, really balanced. Haven't aligned with that energy within themselves. Like to be in a relationship with people who are in that energy, because then it makes them seem like they're in that energy, makes them feel better and feel more balanced. But they really haven't invested in aligning with that within themselves. And that's where eventually they could kind of be a little more controlling in a relationship because they're kind of more codependent on the other person. And they aren't authentically in that energy themselves. It's kind of like someone applying for a job that they're not qualified for, but they get the job. And as long as other people kind of buy into the illusion and kind of being loving and encouraging and supportive and helping them, they can kind of maintain it. But if the other people weren't to keep putting in that degree of work and effort with them, like it would collapse and fall apart. And that's how some people who get in relationships with people are like. So long as the other people, and the whole thing is just like with an employee, we want them to kind of take off on their own, you know? And so people can be loving and encouraging to people in their life, but they want them to do this work within themselves so they're in that energy and able to take off on their own. And then it's two high vibe people or two more independent people, because otherwise they will become kind of more bossy or controlling or manipulative or deceptive or hurtful or unkind, because the high vibe people keep shedding old versions of themselves and keep working through issues that manipulate them, and they're trying to create the illusion that that's where they were at kind of when they got in the relationship, and they could have worked through some things during the relationship. But and some relationships people could be in them for a long time, and it might get down to where people it's really making that decision. Do you have more hope and faith and belief and love, and aligning with having more hope and faith and belief and love and in yourself and in others? Or, but that all can take this work and effort to keep, you have to keep maintaining balance within yourself. You can't indulge yourself in your more immature nature and being more about yourself, or wanting to be more lazy or more self-indulgent. You have to take responsibility within yourself to keep moving forward in that way. And there can come a time in any relationship, or I guess a workplace or anything, that people could decide, no, I don't want to keep doing that anymore. I want to go be just more about me, or just indulge me. And again, you can work through a lot of things in a relationship. Gemini, Taurus energy with my throat there. The throat chakra is Taurus energy. You know, everybody could have had a different idea of how this dream was going to come into reality. And some people kind of had a more immature view. Like, oh, I didn't really think I was going to have to work through all these things and become more authentic and look at life differently. I kind of thought, I knew you kind of seemed that way, but I kind of thought maybe you'd let go of that and we'd make it more about these things or me. And I didn't know you were going to keep kind of looking at life from a higher perspective. I didn't know you were going to keep shedding old versions of yourself and keep giving birth to new versions of yourself. I didn't know you were going to keep growing and maturing yourself to the degree that you are, and I don't want to do that. And I'm okay living my life more at this stage of life. And so there are no guarantees, and that's kind of Scorpio energy also. You know, are we willing to keep, and that's high vibe Aries. Aries energy and high vibe is about becoming the emperor and learning all these lessons, and that who you present yourself as being in the world, male or female, as the emperor, internally, emotionally, you are the empress. You are balanced within yourself. You are acting in truth and love. You are acting with character and integrity. You are looking at life from a higher perspective. You do think there's a higher truth and justice to aspire to in this world than just saying that what you say is just and fair is just and fair. You know? And that Empress energy is Libra and Taurus energy, about justice and spiritual truth in a way. And Emperor would be, Emperor's learning all lessons in all four suits of the deck, and the Empress is about learning lessons in all four suits of the deck also. And being who you say you are authentically, being a good leader in your own life, being balanced within yourself, acting with character and integrity, in turn wanting to be in relationships with other people who do that. And so people at whatever social strata, economic strata, maturity level, at their own strata of where they're at in their life, just like when you're 18, 21, or 25, you could have been at that level of maturity, kind of like in Emperor Empress energy, right? But it's always kind of shedding that layer of it to go to the next stage of life, learn lessons at that stage of life, kind of becoming Emperor Empress energy at that stage of life, where you love and believe in yourself, that you don't want your fears and your insecurities and other people in your life and your more immature nature to manipulate you, that you give birth to going to that next stage of life. And you know, you keep doing that. High vibe people are who they say they are. They are being truthful and authentic, and they have transformed themselves. They are not, they did learn the lessons. They are not wearing a false mask. Those people want to move forward with other people who are in that energy. Some shadowy people try to create, at every stage of life, there's other people trying to present themselves that is the truth of who they are too. But they're not. And as you get to know people, seeing who is not and who is. And it is always kind of like a gamble, which I think the fire sign energy in this kind of combined deck is the dice card. It's always a gamble because we can only do the best we can do with the information that we know to get to know people, to maintain balance within ourselves. Don't chase people. Tell people, work together with people in a way you like to be treated. If there's particular people in your life that you would like to be in a relationship with, you speak your truth, you get out of your ego. When you're in working with other people, you're being authentic, seeing if other people are, and then we go on that new journey. It's all this journey of going on these journeys to learn these lessons. As we kind of get to know people more, we might find out, oh, oops, yep, guess not. And, being willing to, again, I'm not going to be in my ego about it. If I know I acted with character and integrity, I'm not, and that's so funny that some people are so afraid of getting in a relationship to a degree because of ego. Like, what if it doesn't work out? And it's like, well, if you know you acted with character and integrity, why would it get you so much in your ego that you didn't work out? You don't control other people. And that's why we have a lot of Aries energy, it seems like, in the reading, which can be about, if I were a certain type of person, people should want to invest in me. Get out of your ego. You can be, Jesus was killed, you can be as good and nice and encouraging and loving, just fair person as you want to be. The other people have their own free will. So you go on the journey, and if it works out, it works out. Great. If it doesn't, it's like I'm not going to be in my ego about it. If I know I acted with character and integrity, was authentic and loving, yeah, it can be hard to emotionally detach, but if people start acting shadowy, immature, bossy, controlling, prideful, egotistical, whatever, I'm going to let them go and I'll do the work to overcome it and not give up on my dreams. The dream continues. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Virgo energy that they might not see coming? As, they're going on this new journey with the people in their life, trying their best to, based on the lessons they've learned in life and listening to their intuition, to maintain balance within themselves, to be in relationships with other people who do, and kind of go with the flow. Trusting and believing that, if your intuition tells you, wait a minute, that you'll stand up for your loving nature. What's coming up? The Ace of Cups in reverse. Why? Because of the Two of Wands. Well, for one, the way you could look at that is there could have been a dream that you had, a way of living life and viewing life, and a dream that you had wanted to come into reality with some people. You kind of felt in your Aries energy of what you were motivated and inspired by with some of those people, you thought you were on the same page. But as you have tried to offer truth and love and encouragement to some of those people to work together with you in that way, you see that those people aren't doing that, So you accept the truth of it. You kind of see that that's not their truth. So your dream can't come into reality with them. You don't give up on your dream, but you can only bring that dream into reality with other people who are motivated and inspired by that. That's their truth also. And if it's not their truth, it's then again kind of in the Two of Swords, which can be about listening to your intuition. you're listening to your intuition. We can offer people truth and love. Again, we can extend some grace to people while they work through what they might need to work through. But eventually, it's like if people aren't working with me to bring this dream into reality, they're investing in a different dream, because at any moment in the worldly nature of the pentacle, people are investing their time, energy, and effort into things. And if they're not doing that here, I need to kind of quit deceiving myself that they are wanting to put in work and effort into this dream. And some of them might purposely not be putting work and effort into this dream because they don't want to move forward that way. And they're hoping I won't love myself enough and I'll put an end to that dream and I'll come back and do it the way they want. Because they don't want to do it that way. If they wanted to do it this way, they would. They want to do it this way. And if I'm not willing to do it that way with them, they will find other people who are willing to do it that way. So you kind of see that their idea of the dream life is different. So you're not going to invest in that dream anymore. And because you were inspired within yourself to change, you did do this work within yourself. And some people in your life who at one time you had been investing in because you thought a dream could come into reality with them, you wanted things to change. And it could have been some people can want, again, to be in a relationship with you, but they don't really want to do love. Again, it's like fire sign energy. It can feel like people are indulging in a relationship with you and they're happy more about it being either about them or the ego or the image or the status of it. And they think you should make your life about those things too. And you felt it was dead. It wasn't motivated and inspired by truth and love. So you quit investing in that dream. And also kind of realizing that, again, you can be a very just, fair, and loving person in the world. And there can be other people, again, who don't want to invest in that because that's not their truth. And it's kind of this thing of the ego, kind of us in our Aries nature of self, it's kind of, you can do everything right and it's still not going to work out the way you want if the other people, if that's not their truth. And you're not in charge and you're not the boss. At the bigger picture, the divine kind of has a plan. And so high vibe people got out of being more about themselves, kind of a death to thinking all I can do is offer people truth and love and encouragement, and then I should keep moving forward in my truth. And if those people are motivated and inspired by that, then they would be motivated and inspired by that. And if they're not, I see, accept the truth, get out of my ego that that's not their truth. There also could be some people who, again, help you let go of an old dream to invest in a new dream. And as you kind of let go of that old dream and invest in a new dream and keep loving and believing in yourself, you keep changing. You're not the same person that you were. And then even if some of those people wanted to be back in a friendship or relationship with you, you're not the same person you were at one time. And that also can be another reason. If there's some people that you reach out to, for some of you, they could know you've changed and they haven't changed. It's like, oh shit, no, I'm still doing this and you seem to be over here. You're less about yourself and caught up in the world and the ego and the image or indulgence or immaturity. You seem to have really changed. You seem to really look at life differently now. You seem to have learned to love yourself. Would I gotten back in a friendship or relationship if you're still in this energy? Yeah, but you're not. And so kind of accepting the truth of that. And there could be some people in your life right now who want to go on that new journey, to let go of that old dream, to move forward with this new dream that isn't more inspired maybe by, I want someone to love me. I want, just more of a more inspired by truth and love and looking at life from a higher perspective. What's coming up for people who harness some more worldly, shadowy Virgo energy that they might not see coming up? We have the Eight of Swords, the Six of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, and the reason is because of the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is Virgo energy. Well, some shadowy people are in a mental prison about being inspired by truth and love. And so they keep that can be shadowy energy, wanting to live more from their mind than their heart, feeling confident within themselves, believing in their dreams, to go invest in other people who have worked through their fears and their insecurities, who are moving forward in life. And so while some people kind of keep repeating an old pattern, keep being more manipulated by their fear or their insecurity or their ego or the world or whatever, other people do move forward. And other people do invest in people who they think they're more on the same page with. And they move forward with those people. And some of those people then let go of a dream coming into reality with some of these other people, because those people aren't investing it. The Pentacles can talk about bringing something into the 3D realm. And there's some people who just lack confidence within themselves, fearful of coming out from living more from their mind than their heart, speaking the truth, being vulnerable, being loving. And so they keep not maybe speaking their truth to some of the people in their life. And that could be something that always could kind of bother them in their life. That, and other people, again, don't want to be in regrets that they get out of their ego. I don't want to be in regret that I didn't speak my truth. So high vibe people spoke their truth to people. This is how I'm moving forward. Do you want to move forward with me? And as they were moving forward, some of the other people didn't work through it. It's like, well, then I'm going to work with the people in my life who do. And the shadowy people or worldly people might be more manipulated by their ego nature or indulge their more immature nature. I don't want to have to grow up. I don't want to have to mature myself. I don't want to see the truth. Well, they're going to have more high vibe people in their life leave their life because those people have been loving and encouraging to them, harnessing this energy in a high vibe way. And we can't make other people free themselves from things that manipulate them. They hold the key to free themselves. And apparently, if they keep not wanting to free themselves, then that kind of is the truth of where they're at. And they're going to keep repeating that pattern over and over until they ever do find it so uncomfortable or something that they're willing to do the work. But if they don't want to see the truth, they're going to keep repeating a pattern, hiding that they could be a little bit more motivated by themselves or these things of the world, try to get someone else to get in that job, be their friend, get in a relationship with them, marry them, hoping that those people don't see through the illusion of who they are, or that those people, if they're kind of more codependent or worldly focused, hope that those people never work through it. And that they'll be able to keep moving forward where they don't have to change, where they don't have to become more independent, where they can live more from their mind than their heart. This is good for my ego and my image. We should stay in the relationship. And if they can find someone who's willing to do that, they might keep repeating a pattern where it is kind of dead. It's not giving birth to anything new. Love gives birth to new things. And some shadowy people don't want to give birth to anything new. No, that requires me to maybe face my fears or my insecurities or step outside my comfort zone. Have I maybe learned everything at this stage of life and there is nothing new to learn here? So it is kind of like doing the same thing over and over and over. Yeah. So high vibe people aren't investing in people who have a different dream. You have a dream of moving forward and shedding these old ways of being to give birth to something new. And for some of you, you might do it more independently to shine your authentic light in the world. Because sometimes some people are more unique and individual that is outside other people's like comfort zone in a way where it's like, I don't know, just sometimes people who, other people just maybe aren't that page. Aquarius could be a shining light in the world, like people who could create new things or bring a new vision into reality a way, and then that can be through creative arts like music or books or artwork or whatever, that the rest of the world just isn't ready for. It's just so kind of unique and different or something, and other people could kind of not like it. It's too different. Aquarius can be about being too different. And it's like, so some people might do that. It's like, if other people don't want to invest in my dream, I'm going to invest in my dream. And it's believing that that is the path that will transform your life. But I also think as you move forward in that way, you will meet other people who are kind of more in that same energy. Sometimes it's just the people in your environment. They aren't the right people. But as you keep pursuing your dream and listening to your intuition, it gets you in the right mix of people. And some of you are already in that right mix of people. And they could be someone who also, in their own way, is kind of like a shining star in the world and has that hopeful, believing nature. And it isn't more about them and it isn't more about the world. And it really is about truth and love and justice and fairness. And it helps transform the world. So there you go, Virgo. I wish you peace, love, and joy. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.